Get started in a minute. You guys want to hit a ball around and warm up a little bit? You're welcome to. I'm doing well. No, we have 4 coaches, but I'm the head coach, so I'm here most of the time. So coaching is paid. Yeah, but I'm also on the board of directors here, so I do my share of volunteer work here too. So it does. Come on in. I'm going to give you guys about 5 minutes just to kind of get warmed up. Today is going to be a lot of talking. Normally practices aren't this way, but because I'm introducing new concepts today, we're going to be doing a lot of chatting. Okay, so get warmed up and then we'll have our first chat. All right, one more rally and then we're going to get started. Awesome. Okay, come on in. Let's actually gather over here by the computer. Oh, it's still updating. Okay, let me see if I can go to another. Cedar Bray, my Cedar Bray. All right. So you're a member here, right? Not yet? You're a member here. You're a member here. Are you a member here? Okay. You don't need to be a member here to participate in lessons, but you do need to be a member to participate in our practice groups and our training groups, right? So the difference, we do a bunch of clinics. Every clinic is also tied to a practice group. So whatever information I'm presenting in a clinic is also being presented at in that exact same session to a practice group. The clinic participants are paying $25 each. The practice group participants are paying anywhere from $8 to $16 each. So if you're a member here, you get all the clinics at a substantial discount. We mix everybody together because we want to make sure that people coming in that we've never met before are at least in with a group of people that we have met before so we can manage the program a little bit better. So if you're planning on playing here to improve and take lots of clinics here, it's definitely worth it for you to get the membership taken care of. This class 104 is about how to practice and improve. The way to practice and improve is through our practice training lesson stream that we have going here at the facility. I can teach you how to practice and improve on your own. You're welcome to do that too. You can also learn that from this class. But it really focuses on what we're doing here at the center, and it helps introduce people. It's kind of an orientation to how to practice and improve in our system. Does that make sense? Anybody have any questions before I get going? Okay. Where do you normally play?
We played yesterday at Calgary Center.
Okay, yeah. And how did that go? Yeah? Good. So you guys know each other then?
Yes.
Okay. Good. Okay, that's good. All right, so let me show you. Let me start. I'm going to get everybody around this side of me so you can see this page. This is the Cedar Bray website. You want to come to the pickleball section. We have different streams. We have a recreational stream. We have a competition stream. Recreation means it's basically our seniors program, Monday to Friday. During the winter, it starts in September, ends at the end of April. There's 2 hours. A lot of people are just coming in to kill time, right? Different levels. They generally, for the most part, they're not interested in taking lessons, practicing, improving. They're just here for the social experience of pickleball. That's what our recreational program is all about. That is their form of exercise. That is how that they will try to improve, is just by going out and playing. It's a leveled system. So there's beginner, there's novice, there's intermediate, there's advanced, but it's self-assessed. So you can say, even if you're the worst player in the world, I'm advanced. And you can say, even if you're the best player in the world, I'm beginner. Right? And whatever you say, that's what you are, and nobody can say otherwise. That's a self-assessment system. We also have our competitive stream. Competitive, people think it means that you're heading for the Olympics. That's not what it's all about. We're trying to put together groups of athletes who are competitive with each other, right? So if John's a really strong player and Sanka's a really weak player, we don't want to have them in the same program together, right? We want to have everybody in a program with other people at their level so that Sanka gets the most out of her experience and John gets the most out of his experience. That's what the competitive ranking system is all about. It's not about who's first. It's about putting you as an athlete with a group of athletes who are similar so that when you go out on the court, you don't feel like, oh, I'm going to get my ass kicked this time. Or, oh, this is going to be so boring because these people are so bad. Right? We want you to have a good experience. And that's what the competitive experience is all about. Within that competitive stream, we have box leagues. So box leagues are, let's say you form a ladies box league team, you would play other ladies box leagues teams. You could play at the pickleball center, you could play at Oak Ridge, you could play here, you can play wherever you want. Just go out and play. Each month there's a set of boxes. Players within the boxes play each other. At the end of the month, the boxes get resorted. So the top team goes up to the next box, the bottom team goes down to the next box, blah, blah, blah. And the boxes sort themselves so that you end up with the strongest teams on top and the lower teams in the lower boxes. The middle teams are in the middle. And it does the same sort of thing. it sorts the players, the teams, by their results. Now, the difference between a box league and our competitive drop-in stream is in a box league, you could have a strong player and a weak player who are at two different levels, but they go out and they compete as a team regardless, right? Maybe as a team, their strong player really carries them. Maybe they've developed a strategy that allows them to play against stronger teams. So it's a team results focused experience rather than an individual ranking focused experience. Any questions about that? That's the box league. Yep. Calendar is just the stuff I have going on. That's mostly for the staff, but if you want to just look, see what's going on, you can. Ratings. Okay, let's talk about ratings. So this is the page you want to go to if you're going to be in the competitive stream. This is going to be kind of your home page. There's some videos on this page that explain what ratings are. There's some text that describes how ratings work. There's a section on how to earn a rating. Once you have a rating, there's some things that you can do with your rating. And then down here, you're going to see qualified groups. So the 4.0 plus qualified group, that's our highest group, all the way down to our weakest group. So this is the middle. You can see how many players are in the middle. That's where most players end up, is somewhere in the middle. And our weakest group, right now, there's nobody. So these groups qualify you for programs. So if you're on this list, you may, subject to some conditions, qualify for these programs. So if your name was here, you would look at this part of the page, because this is going to be your cluster of programs. And then to find out if the details apply to you, you'd go into the individual programs, read them, because sometimes there's further details. You might go, oh, I don't quite qualify for this one. Oh, I do totally qualify for this one. Okay?
So I was going to say, so
Yep.
because it's in the box league, it's
Mhm.
so you both have to be at whatever level.
No. So you're gonna join the box league. It doesn't matter what level you're at in box league. You can both be raw beginners. One could be a pro and one could be a beginner. You're going to enter the bottom through the box league through the bottom, and you're going to win your way up. When you stop winning, you'll kind of start to hover, right? So your team with one strong player and one weak player might be able to rise to the middle of the pack, kind of thing. So box leagues we often have husbands and wives and friends who are at very different levels, but who still want to participate as a team. So we've created the box league for that, for them.
And there's no individual competition where you just go and you join another person.
Yes, there is. Yeah, and I'm going to dig into that right now. So
the
let's.
box league is when you have your team member.
Yep.
This is when you just show up.
Drop in is when you just show up.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah. So let's look at a drop in. So 2.75 to 3.5 drop in. Well, I don't need to open it up. So 2.75 to 3.25. So once you've earned a rating, let's say your rating is 3.0, which is middle of the pack. You would be able to play in any rated program that allowed you that included the range of 3.0. So you could play in 2.75 to 3.25. You could play in 3.0 to 3.50. You could play in either one of those if you had a rating of 3.0. So that all the players who play in that program are going to be rated in that range. So you know that you're going into a range that's comparable to where you're at. You can show up as an individual player and you'll be assigned a partner. Or we have an optional team option. So let's say you're both qualified for the group. Your ratings are both 3.0. You could come in and play as a team. You could play all your games as a team if you want, right? John could do it if Sanka was his partner or another female was his partner, but we don't allow male teams. Well, you'll see why. So if we allow male teams, the male rankings go way up because they can use their power and their strength and their speed to go way up in the ranks and beat up on all the female teams, and it distorts their ratings because then they end up joining a men's box league and they find out, guess what, they're not so good, right? So and we've had problems with that in the past, so that's why we don't do it. Mixed teams are fine. Female teams are fine. We just don't allow male teams. If you want to play male, you join one of our male leagues or you join the box league. That's our only male head-to-head.
That's what my buddies want to join up with me.
You can. There's a men's box league. You can play in the men's box league. And we have a men's challenge ladder coming this fall too. and we do occasionally have men's drop-in programs. And when I have spare court time, sometimes I'll invite, because there aren't a lot of guys playing all men's here, like men's doubles. There's a group of us, but I'll invite the people who are interested, and we'll come in and we'll play some men's doubles for a day. So, yes. Oh, anyway, so there's that. So you have that option, an individual drop-in option, where you can come as a solo player, and you'll have random partners, or you can come as a pair. Right? We allow both. Did that answer your question? Okay. These programs, these rated programs, are right now until September only happening on the weekends. Once we get into September, there will be one evening drop-in. I think it's going to be Wednesday nights for you people who work and can't play during the day during the week. And those spots will be reserved for people who can't come during the day. Right? There will also be 3 rated programs mixed in with our Monday to Friday 9 to 5 rec program this year. You guys might work, so it might not work for you. That might not apply to you, but we do have some seniors who are off and would rather play during the day, so we will have that. As right now, about a third of our 350 members are involved in the competitive stream. It'll probably grow to about 2/3 by Christmas time this year. We'll probably have a third that'll never be part of the competitive stream. They'll always be recreational. So we'll have about a third that are only competitive, a third that are only recreational, and a third that kind of do some of both. Anyway, that's kind of the big picture look of where we're at. Now, how do I get into this system? We have a program called, so on this ratings page, right at the very top, it says, if you're currently unrated, these are your options. So our options are this entry to pickleball ratings drop-in, and then the 3-box leagues, ladies doubles, men's doubles, and mixed doubles. So entry to pickleball ratings drop-in, that's where everybody starts. You come in as a single player. There's a whole bunch of unrated players there, or people who are partially rated. They're working on the ratings, and you play your first 25 games in that program. Right? Once you've played 25 games in that program, it typically takes about 5 sessions, because you're going to play 4 to 6 games a session. F5 is the average. So after 5 sessions, you'll have a number. A number that we can rely on, and you will start in a group. You might start in 2.25. You might start in 2.5. You might start in 2.75. Wherever you start, that will be your first group. Then as you play within that group, if it comes out that you're stronger than that group, you'll be moved up to the next group. Right? Some players kind of get caught between 2 groups. They're down with one for a little while and up with the other one for a little while, and they do this for a while until they work their way up into the up group. Almost nobody goes like this. They tend to go up like this, right? So you'll meet different people along the way. And a lot of people think they're better than their ratings. Yeah? Yeah. And they get frustrated with the system. My advice is just play your number. Enjoy it. Yeah, be competitive, and the skills will come. You don't get better by playing. You get better by practicing and taking lessons. You'll get better faster. You can get better incrementally by playing, which is the way guys tend to prefer to do it. Women tend to prefer to take lessons. And that's why our female players tend to advance more than our male players. Male players tend to get stuck at a level and just keep doing the same bad habits over and over again.
So when we go to enter the pickleball, this drop-in, so it's going to take me to a calendar where I can book my...
Yeah, let's look at it right now. So we'll click in.
Right?
Yes, yeah. So, and there's a couple of things that you have to do. So you click on that, and then you come to this page. There's an explanation of what it's all about. And then you'll see that there's 5 steps here. You have to purchase a community membership. That's number 1. You've done that. You've done that. You've done that. You will? Okay. Oh, you haven't? No, you haven't. I keep thinking you're a member because I've seen you so many times. Yeah. Then you pay your pickleball access fee. So your membership is $15 a year if you buy it at the beginning of the year. But if you buy it further into the year, they start taking amounts off because it's prorated. Exactly. So it'll be $15 or less. Right now it's less. Then you have to pay your pickleball access fee. That's $25 whether you buy it the first day of the year or the last day of the year. It doesn't matter. $25. That's our ball fee. That's gonna pay for the balls that you break, and you will break some. Okay. Then you buy a punch card, a 10 times punch card. You buy that by email. It's pretty simple. Just send me a punch card. They'll invoice you. You pay it by email. That punch card has 10 punches on it, and every time you come to a program, you'll pay 1 or 2 punches, depending on what you're doing. Drop-in programs are 1. Lessons are 2 punches. Unless you're at the beginner level, your lessons are 1 punch. Okay, then the fourth is you want to register for a free account on pickleballbrackets.com. You join our club. I'll just show you what that looks like. It's right here. My stuff. Clubs and organization. This is our club, Calgary Pickleball Academy, Cedar Brae. And I'll just show you our members. So right now in the club, we have 106 members. They're all listed here, all their ratings, all their rankings. I'm just going to pick somebody at random, somebody I know that's active. We'll look at Ann Christopoulos. Okay, so Ann has played 13 games of doubles and has a rating of 3.5710. She's played 7 mixed games, so that's male-female games, and so she has a rating of 3.8. She has a singles rating of 3.5 and a skinny singles of 3.5, but she hasn't played any actual games. Right? Skinny singles is it's an awesome training game. If you want to get better at doubles, you want to learn how to play skinny singles. I'm going to be teaching you that today, so I won't explain it now. That's what we're going to be doing in our final section today. And then we'll just look at me, because I have all 4 of them. John, there we are. All right. So I've got games in all of these. I've got my ratings in all of these. So if you want to look at individual games, so I've got 48 games in here. I'm more on the 100% practice side. I rarely play. There's a lot of people here who are 100% on the game side. They never practice or almost never practice. Most people are somewhere in the middle. I'm usually working back here during events, and I don't get a chance to play. But I try. I tried to play yesterday, couldn't. Today I'm playing. I'm trying again. Anyway, so all of your games. So these are the 48 games that I've got in here. I don't know if you want to come in and get a closer look. You don't need to understand this in detail. I just want to make you aware that it's there. So all my singles games, my skinny singles games, my mixed doubles, my doubles.
So who enters this data?
We have volunteers that do it. I do it when I'm volunteering. We have something called a program host for our competitive programs. And every game that you play in our competitive stream gets inputted.
And so do you, like it's an honor system, oh, here's my information.
Yeah, you come to the desk here, and there's a paper score sheet. We write it down. The names are written down. And then while you're playing, the names get entered right here on this PC, right in this spot. Sometimes, if there's an internet outage or for some reason the host takes the sheets home and enters them at home and then brings the sheets back here. Okay, so that's brackets. There's a similar rating system called Duper. You'll hear people talk about Duper. So Duper is Dynamic Universal Pickleball Rating System. So same thing, you get a Duper rating. I deliberately keep mine low so I qualify for 3.75 and below programs. Otherwise, I can't play in them. And there's only a handful of players here who are at my level, so I have to. Anyway, so you'll get a rating. Same thing. So I've got 90 games played in Duper over the last 4 years. So it's not very many. But yeah, so you require 50 Duper games, and that's back on this. We're talking about the things you have to do here. So one is buy your membership, pay your fees, get your punch card, register for your brackets account, which I showed you, and just check your current ratings to make sure that you qualify, blah, blah, blah. And then 6 down here is join Duper. That's an optional thing, but I recommend that you do it. Oh, I'm sorry. This is the content for 105. Are you guys all staying here for 105?
Yeah.
I just jumped into 105 content.
That's okay. I think we'll make 105 next.
Yeah, exactly. We're doing it all together today. Okay. So, and I'll get you all set up on this later. 105, or sorry, Duper is another rating system. So, you saw I had a mixed doubles rating and a doubles rating. I also have a Duper rating and a Duper club rating. So I have 4 ratings. So, if I want to get into a program, as long as one of my 4 ratings fits in those parameters, I can sign up for that program. So I deliberately keep one of my ratings below 3.75 so that I can play in the 2.35 or 3.25 to 3.75 group, which really is our highest large group, right? The one beyond that, especially in the summer, nobody's around, so I wouldn't be able to play at all. So, and you'll probably want to do that too. Try and keep your rating so you can play with a couple of groups. Yeah, yeah. Just take it easy on people sometimes. Or if like some of my players want to go train at the Calgary Pickleball Center, they want to train in the 4.0 ladies group, I don't mind losing a couple games to them so their duper goes up to 4.0 so they can go join that group. Because at the Calgary Pickleball Center, you only need to do it once and you're in for life. Right? Here we do it differently. So.
What do you mean do it once?
So if you want to join the 4.0 ladies group, you have to show them a 4.0 duper rating.
Yeah, and then you're in.
Then you're in. For life. Yeah, yeah. Here we do it differently. If you drop, you're out. Yeah. 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 And some players cheat to get in, and then they're in for life. So, I don't mind helping my players cheat to get in somebody else's rating system. I don't mind at all. Okay. Anyway, so that's just the big picture how the rating system works. Now, that was to tell you, to go back to the 104 content, so we have training groups here. I got off track. This is why I got off track. We were looking at the Cedar Brae website, and I was showing you the layout of the website. Okay, so let's go back to, that's our competitive links. Let's go to lessons, and then there's a practice link. I'll show you both of these. Lessons. Okay. So these are all of our clinics. And you will notice, so you guys have, except for Rhonda, you taken, Edinburgh took one of them? Okay, good. So you guys were in 101, 102, 103, 104, 105. Okay, some of these have wrong numbers. All right, so then our next group, so let's look at this one, Learn How to Serve Effectively, which is the novice clinic at C254. And it says practice to improve serving consistency, 2.01 lessons in practice. So these two things right here are the same. They will run simultaneously, same time, same space. The two groups will be mixed. The C people, the people who register and learn how to serve effectively, they will pay $25, and they will typically not be members of Cedar Brae. In the same class, we will have the 2.0 plus group. They'll be registering through their 2.0 plus group, and they'll pay for that one, it's $8. Right? So it's a substantial, you'll get, if you're taking lessons here, you'll get your money back. You'll earn it back just quickly. So, and that's how they're all paired all the way down. So all these lessons are in order of importance of the skill, right? So if you're playing down in this area with 2.0 and 2.5 level players, and that's your group, and your rating is showing you you're at that level, you should really focus on lessons at that level, right? Once your rating starts to go up, then you can start to focus on some other things. I have people who are at the 2.5 level joining some of my 400 level clinics. There's no point in doing that because they're not going to be able to use those shots, right? Because, not that I can't teach them to execute them. Of course I can teach them to execute them. They're just, within the context of the game that they're playing at the level they're playing at, they're never going to have an opportunity to use those shots, right? And if by some miracle they do get an opportunity to use those shots against lower level players, the point's going to be over instantaneously. So nobody's going to have any fun, right? So you want to kind of, it's kind of like working one bicep and only doing that one bicep. You end up with a giant bicep and the rest of you looks like a normal person. It's just, you're going to, anyway. But, and again, it's guys that tend to do this.
Well, no, the psychology is there, right? Like, it's like guys who skip leg day all the time, right? They look like,
yeah.
Like, you know, I see it.
Yeah. That's fair. Anyway, so all of these are here. This is where you come to see what kind of the layout of the land is. But if you're in a group, let me see if I can pick a decent group here. We'll look at 2.5. We'll look at this one. I don't know how many more lessons I've got. Summertime, there's a lot fewer lessons. So you scroll, yeah, here's some good ones. So you can see all these clinics are here. So they're in the summertime, it's mostly clinics. They'll be signing up for these clinics, right? And this is where if you're the kind of person who's more on the I want to practice side than on the I want to play side, this is where you're going to find all your people, right? Because these are the people who want to practice and improve. If you want to practice and improve, which is now what we're talking about today, you need to find other people who like to practice and improve, other people who have the same schedule and availability that you have, people who are equally committed. There's lots of people who go, yeah, I'm committed. And then they show up, your practice is supposed to start at 8, they show up at 8:15, right? They've got a Tim's coffee with them. They're not really ready. They won't be ready until 8:25. Your court time ends at 9, right? So there's things that have to line up, right? And then you get there and you want to practice dinking and they want to practice serving, right? So it's a complicated political landscape, yeah. To find people who, and then you got people who only want to train with certain kinds of people. Right? You hit the ball too hard for me. You hit with too much spin. You're too fast. You're too slow, right? So it's finding a partner is not easy. If you come to the practice groups, it's much easier to find partners because, first of all, they've been filtered. You're looking at people who are taking the whole concept of practice seriously. And they have me constantly reminding them that they need to give a little. They need to be a good practice partner to get a good practice partner, right? There has to be compromise. You have to be responsible. You can't be late. The best practice partner is the partner who's there, on time, and ready to start at the beginning of the practice. Yeah, marriage counseling. I do partner counseling. Yeah, and I do. I used to teach a class called squash for couples, and I would literally teach men not to beat up on their wives, right? Because they just want to go in there and win the practice, right? And I would have to teach the men how to practice cooperatively. And I would have to teach the ladies, your guy's only going to want to do it nicely for so long. At some point, he's going to want to get scratch his competitive itch. So at the end of practice, you spend 20% of your time letting him scratch his competitive itch. And he's going to beat up on you in that 20 minutes, but that's okay. It's not that he doesn't love you. It's just this is what he needs to do. So that's part of what I do as a coach, right? Is teach people how to practice together. All right, so these lessons, you're not just learning the skills, you're learning how to practice together with people, right? And how to manage these relationships. As a coach, part of my job is teaching you skills, but the biggest part of my job is teaching you how to solve problems. And one of the earliest problems that you get as an athlete when you're trying to develop in a sport is finding other people who are like you, right? So I kind of help you navigate that landscape. That's really my job. Okay, so today we're going to learn how to practice. I've kind of given you a big overview here. To wrap this up, are there any questions? Okay. Always refer to the website first. If you come up to me and say, Brent, is there practice tomorrow at 3 o'clock? I might say, yeah, and I could be totally wrong because I have dozens of programs and I'm talking to dozens of people and I don't remember everything. So I get stuff wrong verbally all the time. I constantly tell people, look at the website, and they go, oh, you're not going to tell me? I can tell you, but I told somebody yesterday, I told Kate yesterday, yeah, we're going at noon tomorrow. And I got home and I got an email from Kate. It's like, I can't find it on the website. I'm like, good for you for checking the website because I was wrong. And that happens almost every day. So if there's no other questions about this, we'll get into practicing. Let's go have a drink of water first, and then we'll come back and we'll get into that. Told you there was going to be a lot of talking today.
That was really helpful because I woke up this morning. Because one of my buddies, I'm so stupid. It's really good because I do play so I just end up just lobbing the ball all the time. Right?
All right, let's have a chat while we're having our water break. Give me a couple minutes to think. Okay, so practice. Amount of practice. That's usually the first question I get. How much should I be practicing? That's really up to you. If you want to play, go play. If you want to improve, go practice. So what do I want to do today? I want to practice, I want to improve. The right balance at this level that you guys are starting at right now is probably 1/3 play, 2/3 practice, right? But if you're going out and playing with your friends and you're at the level that you want to be at and you're competitive with your friends, don't say, well, I need to go practice to be better than my friends, because pretty soon you won't have any friends to play with. And that's not a joke. I have seen so many people play their way out of their friend groups because they get bored with their friends, right? That's something you have to think about. If you're playing this game so you can spend time with your friends and family, right? You don't want to leave everybody behind because they're not taking it seriously. Or maybe you do, I don't know. But it can be, right? And I warned people for years when people would come into my store and tell me, oh, I want to buy this paddle or these shoes because I want to get to 4.0. I'm like, why do you want to get to 4.0? Well, I want to play with the good players. And like, when you get to 4.0, some of the players are dicks, right? 3.0, everybody's still having a good time. It's very social. It's fun. When you get to 4.0, it's pretty cutthroat. And they're like, oh yeah, no, I'll be fine. And then they get there and they come back in and they'd say, yeah, you know, you were right. I don't like these people. I don't like playing with these people. But now they're stuck because they're too good to play with the friends that they were playing with. And they go to play with the other group and they're getting their asses handed to them. So the higher you get in any sport, the more cutthroat it becomes, the less social it is. So if you're in this for a social experience, keep that in mind, right? If you come to practice a lot, you will get better, right? How you use those skills is another thing. If you're helping to develop your friends and raise them up, right? That's a good way to use it. But if you're using these skills to beat up on your friends, pretty soon you're not going to have any friends who want to play with you. And I've seen that happen too. I've seen people literally play their friends out of programs. The friends just stop coming because they're getting beat up on all the time, right? This is one of the reasons why I believe in leveled programs, right? So if I want to play at a level that's below my level, I need to be a nice guy about it. Otherwise, I'm going to play myself out of the level, right? I need to play down, as you said. Yeah. All right. So the thing to keep in mind is about 2/3 practice time, 1/3 play time, if your goal is to improve. But if you're satisfied with where you are, you're going to change that balance to adapt to your situation. Now, if you go out to play and you go, I'm having fun, but I'm really frustrated with my backhand, then take the backhand lessons. And the way I structure my lesson, I've been doing this for 30 years. The way I structure my lessons isn't you get one backhand lesson and then bye-bye, I'll never see you again. Every time my people come into my backhand group, I take a look at the students. I know most of them. I know what they need to do. So I use something called differential coaching. So I will redesign my whole lesson plan just based on the class list, right? Because I know John and Sanka really need to work on getting their top spin right. Tia and Rhonda need to work on their contact point. So I'm going to do a lesson that really focuses on contact point and top spin, right? And I can do that because I've been doing this for a long time. So don't feel that you can only take a backhand lesson. You only need to take a backhand lesson once. Every time you come into my class, I'm going to find something, one way to improve your backhand, your individual backhand, right? So you will always get something new, something you haven't heard from, or something you haven't heard before. Hopefully, that's my goal anyway. So there's that. So then on the backhand, we have clinics, which are learn how to do something, and we have practices where you're implementing something. In a lesson, in a clinic, we're really focused on the technique. In a practice, we're really focused on repetitions, right? So the model, the technique is hitting the one thing perfectly, right? The practice is learning how to hit that shot when conditions aren't going to be perfect, right? Sometimes John hits me a ball that's absolutely perfect. I'm like, yeah, I'm going to nail this one. Sometimes John hits me a ball that's not going to be perfect. I just got to get it over the net. You have to be able to hit that shot both under 0 pressure and under level 10 pressure. In practice, you get a lot more of the higher end pressure because you've got continuous feeds coming from players. In a lesson, we do a lot more stationary feeds because we're really focused on getting the technique right. That's the difference between a lesson and a practice. So you're going to want to mix up both. If you're part of the train, you said you were going to get a membership here, right? She is, okay. Then you're going to want to, you can do both if you're a member here. If you're not a member, you can only come to the lesson. So anyway, that's where we're at. Questions about that? Okay. We're going to go in the room. I'm going to stop talking now. We're going to start learning. Well, I'm never going to stop talking. Today's a lot of talking. I'm going to talk differently in the room. We're going to learn what we call a structured warm-up. All of my groups have a structured warm-up. Structured warm-up is what you guys did was a freestyle warm-up. We just got out and you just we're moving the ball around. There really was no objective in your warm-up other than to just move a little bit. Structured warm-up, we incorporate some actual practice and some technique into the warm-up so that you're warming up and practicing something at the same time. I have one very simple pattern that I use for dinking, for drives, for volleys, and for drops. And we're going to learn the dink one first, and then we're going to take a break, and then we're going to learn the drive one. That's what we're going to learn today. All right? Let's go learn the pattern. Where's my racket? All right, so I'm going to get everybody along this sideline right here just for now. John, you're going to be there because we've done this together a few times. Get everybody here where you can see me, please. All right. So we're just going to be dinking back and forth. I'm going to be aiming to land my ball between his green and blue line. So you're going to back up one stride behind your green and blue line. He's going to be aiming to hit his ball right here between my green and my blue line. So we're just going to go underhand, center to center. I'm going to be aiming between his feet. He's going to be aiming between my feet. Okay, that's all right. Good. So when we lose control like that, just grab the ball, bring it back to the center and restart. We don't want to be practicing bad habits. We only want to practice good habits. Trying to save a ball that's gone wild is not a good habit. So we just catch it, bring it back, we reset, we restart. So this is the first one. So John, you're going to partner with Sanka. Rhonda and Tia are going to partner over here. Okay, awesome. And we're going to do 10 of those. Now, this is important. 10 attempts. If you fail 10 times, that's okay. That counts as 10 attempts. If you have 1 success and 9 failures, that's okay too. So just 10 attempts, because we don't want practices to go till 9 successful completions. Otherwise, practices go for hours, right? So 10 attempts, accept that failure is part of practice, okay? So 10 attempts. That's good. All right. That 10 attempts? All right. So now you're going to learn your first lesson about me as a coach running a practice. If I tell you 10 attempts, I expect that you're all able to count to 10. Right? When I say 10 attempts, I don't mean 10-ish. I mean 10. Okay?
You mean I count my 10 to 20 together?
Yep. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm glad you asked that question. Nobody did, so I knew that was going to happen. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then we're done, and then we move on to the next thing. So right now there's only 4 people in here. Imagine if there was 12 people in here, and I'm trying to talk to the whole room, and I'm trying to get 12 people through a synchronized practice. I can't have one team down at the end doing 10 each, while the other team is doing 10 total. You see what I'm saying? Okay. That's okay. I'm doing this with a little bit of humor. I'm not really giving you hell. Okay, that's our first one. So we did our first one in the center. John, you and I are going to do it. Now we're going to do it down the side. So you're still aiming for the blue line. I'm still aiming for your blue line. We're going from my backhand to your forehand. That's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's 10. Okay, we'll do 10 of those.
What are we aiming for again? Sorry.
So we're going down the left side now. So down this side of our body. So you're going to be hitting a backhand. John's going to be hitting a forehand. Now she's left-handed, so you're going to be you're still going to go down the left side of your body, forehand to forehand in your case. Nope. Yeah, because you're both going down the left side. Okay. There you go. Yeah, got it all. Okay. So 10. Awesome. Good stuff. Now we're going to go down the other side of our body. So we're going to go this way, John. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. This one didn't go so well, but that's okay. 10. Okay, that's it. 10. So 10 down that side of your body now. Catch it. Good stuff. Awesome. Okay. We've done middle, we've done left, we've done right. Now we're going to do diagonal. Forehand to forehand in our case, because we're both right-handed. Yep. Oh, no worries. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You got the idea. So 10 of those. 10 diagonal. Yep. No. So you guys are going to go, so you're right-handed. You're going to go this way. You're going to go this way. Yep. So it's going to be your forehand to her backhand. Yep. Eight, 9, 10. Awesome. Okay, now do the other diagonal. The other diagonal now. Yep. All right, so I'm going to put this hopper right in the middle. So if you need a ball, you can grab a hopper from here. Good. Okay, good stuff. So now we're going to do the hard one. This is the hardest one we will learn to do today. We're going to do a figure 8, John. Yep, so I'm going to go straight. You're going to go diagonal. I'm going to go straight. You're going to go diagonal. So I'm going to be hitting 2 straights. You're going to be hitting 2 diagonals. Okay? Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Good. Good. Awesome. So 10 of those. So straights, diagonals. This one's tough, isn't it? At 10? Okay. Now we're going to switch roles. You guys are going to be straights. You guys are going to be diagonals. Well done. That was very impressive. All right, so now, Sonka, you can stay here. We're going to have you two switch positions. You two? Yep. Okay, so now you're going to do a long diagonal with Sonka, and you're going to do a long diagonal with Rhonda. No, the balls are going to be crossing, yeah. Don't worry about it. Sometimes they'll hit. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Well done. I'm impressed. Okay, now everybody's going to switch with the person beside them. And we're going to do the other diagonal now. Awesome. That's our pattern. That's our pattern. I use it from beginner all the way up to advanced. All of my players start with this warm-up that you just did at every level, right? The conditions and the requirements change as you get up higher. You're going to add more finesse and more accuracy to it, but this is the pattern. We do this pattern dinking in close. We do this pattern drives from further back. We do this pattern with volleying, everything in the air, ball never touching the ground. And we do it with drop shots from the back of the court. Right? So this pattern teaches you everything, touches on every shot that you need to be able to hit. Okay? You like it? Good. And that's our warm-up. That's just our first warm-up. And then there's a second part of the warm-up, a third part, fourth part. As you get deeper into our programs, there's more layers added to our warm-up. Our warm-ups take 30 minutes. An advanced group will be able to do what you just did in about 6 minutes, 5.5, 6 minutes, because they're not going to miss a ball, usually, and it's going to 10 quick ones, boop, 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 boop. They're all done, and they all know what they're doing, so they'll all get it done and get it done in 6 minutes. We're going to do that again, just so you guys get to see it one more time. So let's go back to our starting positions. Awesome. All right, so we're going to do the whole pattern from the beginning. We're going to start with in the V, the center one. Remember to stand back from your blue line. Stand astride behind your blue line so the ball's not ending up in your feet. There we are. So 10 in the V. Okay, now pick a side. We usually start with the this side, left side. You guys are going down this side of your body, right? This side. You guys are going down this side of your body. Okay? So remember, you want to aim for her blue line. Yeah. So don't bring the racket back behind you. Remember that? Keep it up front. Yeah. Absolutely. Very nice. All right, now the other side of our bodies. Oh! Awesome. Now, diagonal. Pick a diagonal. Pick a diagonal. Start with either one. Pick a diagonal. Start with whichever one you want. Keep one diagonal just over and over again. Just grab a new one. Okay. Okay, then when you've done that diagonal, switch to the other diagonal. All right, when you've done both diagonals, the next thing is figure eight. We normally start with straights on this side, angles on this side, and then we reverse. Sure. Which one? Yep. So it's a figure eight, right? So think of a figure eight, right? So it's going to go straight. She's going to hit it back diagonal. So you're standing here. Yep. You're hitting this side straight, and she's hitting diagonal here. Then you're hitting this side straight. She's hitting diagonal.
Not the same side, different side. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's where you got confused. Okay. No, straight down the side. Yeah. Awesome. Okay, so now you two are going to rotate positions, and you're going to do your long diagonals now. So 10 long diagonals. Long diagonals, yep. You pick John up off the floor here. I'll take that. You're gonna.
Those guys don't like me.
Okay, I'll just take it off then. We all know that's John. Okay, so now everybody rotates with the partner beside him. Do the other 10. Yeah. So let's finish and then I'll talk about that. Okay. So everybody's done. Oh, we've done. We're finished now. Okay. A couple things I want to deal with. So come on in so you can hear me. John's question is: Do we want to keep our balls low? Yes. Right. Yes. I said earlier that we use the same pattern for different levels, and the requirements change with different levels. That's one of the things that changes with different levels, right? So beginners, I'll put this at the 24-inch mark, which is here. We want to keep everything in this window. Intermediate and beyond, everything in this level. When we're doing what we were just doing at the advanced level, we want to keep everything within 3 balls of the net, which is this high, right? So it gets tougher. And then there's specific targets, like I want you to land the ball no more than 10 inches outside of this foot, no more. And so the targets get more precise. Things become finer, and but it's the same pattern, right? And if you want to get better at controlling the ball, this is a game of ball control. If you want to get better controlling the ball, it all starts with these movements that we're doing. It has all of the foot patterns and strike patterns that we need to build on to get a platform for advancement. Okay, so let's talk about what we just went through. And I like to tell this story. When I was a kid, my big sport was swimming. So we would go to swimming practice, and the coach would have us do laps. Now, from the coach's perspective, he was having us just do laps so that we would get repetitions in. And the repetitions were helping us build cardiovascular fitness and strength and, just moving through the water. But the boys would always turn practice into who's going to finish first, right? And that's the way boys go out and practice. Boys go out and practice everything. It's a competition. Everything's a competition. You're trying to win practice, right? The girls would all try to start and finish at about the same time at practice, their swimming practice. They were getting the same reps in as us, but nobody wanted to embarrass anybody else. So they would all finish it. There's always the one girl who wanted to embarrass everybody, but for the most part, there were girls. The girls would try and start and finish together because it was a cooperative thing for them. The boys were trying to win. They did not want to be the slowest guy in practice. In warm-up, it's just warm-up. It's just practice, right? But if you finish last, you considered that you had failed practice, right? So there's a kind of a cultural difference between how boys and girls practice. The girls do it right because this is how practice is supposed to be, right? Practice is supposed to be a cooperative exercise. So when you're hitting your balls back and forth with Sanka, you're trying to set her up for success. You're trying to give her good feeds. She's trying to give you good feeds, right? You guys are trying to do this together, right? It's a cooperative thing. And that's important. Your feeding skills in practice are essential. You always want to go into practice and warm-ups. This structured warm-up is a kind of practice. Trying to lift your partner up, trying to elevate your partner, help them. They're going to be trying to help you. And in the process of you two trying to help each other through the practice, you're both going to improve better. Yes, there are times during practice where we have competitive elements, for sure, right? But it's all built on a foundation of cooperation in the beginning. So our practices are typically structured: a warm-up, a set of drills which are cooperative in nature, and then we finish with a game, which are a competitive element, which incorporates what we've done in the first two segments, right? So we have we have 2/3 cooperation, 1/3 competition, and that's about the right balance, right? But in practice, there is going to be failure. There has to be. If you guys start doing 100% of everything right, my job is to move us to the next level where you start to fail again, right? I have to find that pass-fail point where you're being challenged by the material, where you're trying to learn something new, right? So that's the way it is. Sometimes if you go into a practice where you're in a little over your head and the players are better than you, you could experience near 100% failure. If you come to a practice where you're a little bit or substantially above everybody else, you could experience 100% success. It's not my job to give each of you 100% success. It's my job to give the group a good average, right? Some success, some failure, to the point where they're starting to learn. So it's important in practice, if you're coming to practices, to come to the right practices. You want to come to some practices where you're going to have more success, and some practices where you're going to have more failures. So don't pick a number and say, I only go to 2.5 practices, right? Right? If you're struggling with your forehand at 2.5 practices, come to a 2.0 practice, right? Drop the level down a little bit, experience a little more success. Sometimes it's about confidence, right? Anyway, practice is about cooperation. There's going to be failure in practice. That's why we count 10 attempts. 10 failures is 10 attempts. That's okay. Sometimes in a practice, you're going to have 10 failures. The next practice you go to, you might have 10 instant successes. That's the way practice is. If you're coming to practice expecting to succeed in everything, you're in the wrong place, right? Failure is part of it. You're going to want to say, sorry. I didn't hear this group saying, sorry, not much. Exactly. I don't like people to say sorry when they fail at something, because your hippocampus is a part of your brain that's processing information. It stops processing information the minute you start verbalizing. So the best way to practice is at your failures is say nothing. You don't need to apologize. This is practice. You're going to fail. Your partner's going to fail. Nobody needs to say sorry. You can say sorry if you give a really shitty feed by accident, like, oops, sorry, that was bad. But I don't want people saying sorry to every mistake that they make, because this is practice. You don't have to be sorry. You're supposed to fail. All right, so that pattern is going to work best if you work cooperatively, if you give your partner good feeds. You set your partner up for success. Okay. We're going to have a quick drink of water, and we're going to come back in, and we're going to try and do this one time from a little bit further back, just so you get a sense of what it's like. Okay, so let's go have a drink of water, just a quick one, and then we're going to come back and do some more work. All right. Your husband played squash?
We played with our husbands yesterday.
Okay.
And we've been trying to learn, and they're just like, they're just going to go out and play. And they were better than I thought they would be, but they have a squash background.
Yeah, okay.
They don't play.
Slice it to, well, my husband was like, he thought he was
But he had some good techniques. Like he would totally slice it, and it would just roll and kind of drop. And he totally got the kitchen. Like he would shut us down. Dad, how do you get around a person like that? I don't know. I have to be more mind drivers.
Oh, this was pickleball. I thought you said squash.
Oh.
Oh, they have a squash background. Okay.
So I think that's why they were better than I expected.
They got a racket sports background, yeah, for sure. And squash is, I taught squash for 30 years. Squash is an excellent precursor to pickleball because the ball bounces about the same height.
Yeah, so I think that's why they
yeah. And you can use a squash grip to play pickleball instantly. You can't use a tennis grip to play pickleball instantly. You have to make some adjustments. So tennis players adapt fairly quickly too, because there's elements of tennis that are very similar to pickleball for sure. Especially elite level tennis players, they pick it up very quickly. But I find for beginners, people who've never been exposed to pickleball before, squash actually learns a little bit faster initially. So anyway, I don't want to get lost in that. That's a whole lecture. We're gonna go in the room. We're gonna try it from a little further back. And I'm doing this for a reason. I need to introduce you to another really, really, really important concept if you're going to be practicing, which is distance makes difficult. All of my students hear me do this over and over and over again, say this over and over again. If you want to win, remember that distance makes difficult, right? The further back you can put your opponent, the more difficult their job is going to be. But the same thing applies to you. The further back you are, the more difficult it is. So that little drill that we're just doing, we're going to back up about 24 inches, and the difficulty level is going to more than double, right? So when you're practicing, it's really important to find your distance, right? If you're experiencing 100% success at something at this distance, 18 inches. What happens is people go, oh, I'm doing this well, I'll go back to the baseline and do it. So they move back 7 feet, right? That's way too much. 18 inches at a time. That's because if I move back 18 inches and you move back 18 inches, that's 3 feet, right? So that's 3 feet's a lot. So it's a lot. So anyway, let's go in the room and practice this. I don't want to get lost in a math quiz here. All right, so everybody hates the lines in here, but as a coach, I love them because we were working on the blue line here. standing at about here. So we're going to back up just behind the red line now. That's it, just behind the red line. And you're going to see that this, what we've been doing is going to be more difficult. So we're going to start with that first in the middle one. Now, obviously, you're going to hit it a little bit deeper than the blue line because we're about 18 inches further back. So we're going to hit it probably about there. We don't have a spot. I'm not going to put spots down. You guys are just going to have to know where you're aiming. Remember that when you're feeding your partner, if you're forcing them to back up, you're not being a good feeder. You're not being a good partner. You want to, if you're going to miss it, you want to miss it so that they can take their shot moving forward, not backwards. Okay? Let's give that a shot. One second. Just got to address your grip issue. I think we've talked about this, right? You want to try and keep this head down because right now you're hitting everything up. And we want to try and keep it going through this window. Yeah, try and keep it low over the net. Yep. Yep. All right, 10 attempts. Awesome. Now pick a side, and we're going to try and go down a side. 10 attempts down a side. Oh, am I hearing sorries? Am I hearing sorries? Do yourself a favor, don't say sorry, just accept it. Okay, now the other side. Do the other side of your body now. 10 on the other side of your body. Oh, you guys did both sides? Okay, now you're going to pick a diagonal. You can either do with this diagonal or this diagonal to start with. It doesn't matter. Pick a diagonal. Don't worry about it. Just push it off. So occasionally you're going to end up with balls in your feet. It happens in practice. We want to push them off to the curtain. Just push them off to the curtain. They should stay over there. And that way they're not going to be in anybody's feet. Nobody's going to step on them. And just grab a new one. Okay. No, so once you're done, we want to try and keep this all together. So have you guys done both diagonals? Have you guys done both diagonals? Okay, we'll do the other diagonal. Yeah, so they let them catch up. Just give them it'll take a few seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Bad habit practice there. 10. Okay, that's good. Awesome. Okay, now we're going to do the figure 8. So you guys are going to start off straights. You guys are going to be diagonals. Figure 8, remember this one? You're hitting straights, Tia? Okay, so you've done the figure 8, now change roles. You guys are going to be straights, you guys, no, just change roles. You guys are going to be straights, you guys are going to be diagonals. Awesome. Okay, so now you guys are going to change, rotate, and we're going to do our long diagonals. Awesome. Now everybody's going to rotate. People are starting to move ahead of me. You guys are learning the pattern. Awesome. Okay, come on in. Let's talk about that. So, a little more difficult when you backed up, right? More difficult to keep control? Yeah. So, it's important. If you tried to do that from the baseline, you'd experience probably close to 100% failure. That's not good practice, right? You should be, if you're practicing something, you want to be experiencing about 70% success, right? And that's for the group. So one person might be experiencing more success than the other, but you want to have kind of a group average of about 70%. It's a bad idea to push your failure level too high because you're going to end up practicing bad habits. It's important to keep your successes higher. That means that you're doing things slower, more cooperatively, closer together, right? Because then your form is holding together. And then as your form improves, you're able to do it further and further back, okay? So if you ever have a question, if you ever, like some people practice on their own and come and ask me questions about, it's really difficult for me like if Rhonda came to me and told me a story, I can't really assess that because I didn't see what was happening. If you're going to practice independently and you want me to look at if you're going to practice independently and you want me to give you feedback, I need some video, right? So you all have phones, buy a little tripod, and give me something to look at, right? I'm going to be able to give you better feedback if I have something to look at. And you can just post it to your YouTube channel, make it private so nobody else can see it, and or send it to me or in your TikTok, whatever you want to do. Yeah, if you want me to give you that kind of feedback, I can. All right, any questions about what we did today? There's a lot of information. Thank you. You enjoyed it? Good. So, enjoyed it? Found something useful? How about you? So if you show up for a clinic, we're just going to have a freestyle warm-up. At a practice, there's be a structured practice. So if you don't know it, somebody in practice will be assigned to work with you and cover it. Yeah, exactly. Everybody learns it. So, yeah. If you walked into a 300 level or a 350 level class right now, they would teach it to you, but you would really stand out as not ready for it. But if you came to the level that's right for you right now, you wouldn't stand out. You might stand out the first day or two because you're not really used to it yet, but you'll learn it. So, and during a practice, I'm going to come around and give you guys feedback. Today, I was just I kept my feedback to a minimum because I was just really trying to teach you guys that A, there is a structure, and B, there's some patterns that we do. That's really all I was trying to teach you today. But during a practice, I will come around. If I see you're giving your partner bad balls, I'm going to talk to you about how to give your partner better balls. That's it, right? Or if I see your partner's pushing you back, I'm going to go talk to your partner and say, listen, you got to give her something she can stop moving her back. So, yep, and higher the level, the more intense, well, not more intense, the more detailed it gets. Good question. What did you get out of it today?
Good, but I could tell it's been a while since I thought I had straight. I can do any of them.
But that's awesome because people, guys, especially guys, tend to think I'll just go take like the lesson that you did. I think you took forehand lesson, right? Or was there a backhand? Both? Okay. So guys tend to think I'll go learn how to hit a backhand and then I'll never have to take it again. But you yourself, you went to the lesson, we were having great success.
I thought it was okay.
And then you come in today and you find out you've forgotten. So if you go to see a speaker or go to learn anything, the first time that you go to it, you're going to remember about 10% of what you were taught. You're going to forget 90% of it. That's normal. This is why you come back to the forehand, backhand lesson again and again and again until you've mastered it, right? Because each time you come, you're going to another 10% is going to stick, right? So you're going to get better at it. And what you're trying to do through the lessons process isn't learn it up here. You're trying to develop habits that you don't even think about anymore, right? They're built into your strokes. It's how you move. It's how you approach things. And as you develop these habits, right, you stop thinking about them. It enables us to build higher level skills because you've already developed the habits. That's why I said there's no point in coming to a 400 level lesson learning a killer skill if you don't have the foundation underneath it to support it, because it's not going to happen very often. So, yeah. All right, so are there any questions about what we did today, just to wrap up? Okay, we're going to go into 105 next, but I'm going to give you guys a break. You can stop listening to my voice for 5 minutes. We'll get started about 5 after. Okay? All right, you guys are all here for 105 now, right? Okay, perfect. I love this group. This is awesome.